What a beautiful day to begin with. Thank you so much for being with us. And today I am going to review Worst Roommate Ever. If you have watched I Care a Lot, I think you should watch this one also. And if you have watched The Tinder Swindler, that's also very relative to this one. So let's speak or review according to my sequential order that I think you should really pick up first. So let's begin. If you have watched The Tinder Swindler, I think this should be your first priority, The Marathon Man. And the story broke around 2015. I read an article, and the writer wrote an article about very famous magazines also. It's already on the news, and you can Google it and you can find it on it. So there. So the story is about a guy and who is conning people on the basis of nationalism. And sometimes, if you show your background from the place, definitely people will shower money on it, and sometimes your own ones cannot afford this because they are not in the financial capacity to do so, and thus comes another people. So he has been targeting different nationalities, different peoples and different communities, and gathered a huge sum. And then if he gathers a sum from one person, showing to another to make him envy or something like, see, you guys cannot do this and these people are doing it. But sometimes taking that money for granted and trying to do whatever he really wished for. And there are people also, those who became the part of his trap, how he wanted to glorify himself, what he really wanted to prove through his stories and everything. There was a mystery behind him, what he does, and you could see he was really worst at. Sometimes they get really violent because some people really don't like what they are saying or what they don't wanted to hear from him. Because if you are a good person, your actions will speak. But if you are just telling tidbits and stories to people, they will not listen all this. And that happened with the one female actress, or not actress, it was a real incident, and she almost lost her life. And thus he pretend to be innocent. What happens, you have to watch it by yourself, how he means. It's not like from one place. He did in different continents and different countries, and once his background has been traced by his own people, thus they started calculating all the facts and talk with all those people, those who really invested on him also, and whatever his plans are. So sometimes you really need to watch where you are investing, who you trust, who you donate for. And people sometimes give donations without even having a background check also. Sometimes all those who really deserve, they don't get it. And sometimes we shower money on all those who have a background with the crime, and that happened in this case also. I hope you really enjoy this. Let's move to the another one. If you have watched I Care a Lot, because the actress won the Golden Globe, and it's similar to that one. The story is all about Call Me Grandma is a story about Dorothea Ponte. She had a bad background, and suddenly she wanted to do something creative with her mind games. So it happens in every society. If you are showering money on people of high class, you will get more good reputation among them, and you sometimes feel like they are your backbone. And in any kind of situation, you will definitely have an edge, like, oh, I have been doing this donation and all this, and that donation was all those people who were being murdered by her. So there came a one guy, and that was definitely there is always one person who sacrifices his life and wanted to prove what the past was hidden behind her yard. So it happened in her case also. All those people, those who have been murdered by her, all those bodies, they were found out, and what happened, you have to find out by yourself also. And it's very ruthless, cunning, and that's why sometimes, because in some cultures it's totally different, and in some cultures it's opposite, because they really wanted to stay in the community, they really want to remain very closer to each other, and they really want to remain in touch, so that the communication gap from other communities or the societies will not create a huge gap. And during that gap, definitely that person will play her mind games, and that happened in her sense also, because she portrayed herself, everything is fine, but at the end of the day, all those people, those who were living in that old house, caregiving house, something, whatever, they lost their life and lost their belongings. And especially this happens most of the time because they are weak among us and they cannot physically, they are not fit, or some people are not good at for the checks and all this. So that's the time where Dorothea find out that that's the edge she can get. So that's where she counts so much money, but at what cost? By killing all these people. So let's move to the next one. Be care of the quiet ones. So that's very, very important, and especially the very last also is about roommates. The problem with this is like all those people who look very nice, kind, and all those who are very outspoken, you have to not judge them immediately. Step back and keep thinking that are they really fit to be in that circle where you are living it. Sometimes it is very hard to let a stranger come into your space or circle and live very around you. And this happened with this girl Mabel, and it was a very horrific incident because this guy looks very nice, kind, but you know, if any person who has no siblings, wife, girlfriend, or anything relative around him or her, you have to be very precautious. Why? Because sometimes all those people, they isolate themselves from their relatives to play their own mind games. So this guy came to this girl. She served in the army, and she was very good at fighting and all this. And but she knew that maybe she is letting him stay with him. He was very kind at the beginning, but later the chemistry that okay, a man and a woman cannot be a good friends until there are some other relations involved, like if you have kids, if you have siblings, then you can understand okay, this person has its own. So now this girl let him stay with her, and without knowing who is he. So now if at the beginning they were just roommates, and suddenly friendship turned into a so-called relationship, but at the end of the day she was feeling that he is not fit for me. So now this guy trying to make himself more young, he invests so much money on his facelifting and tattoos that she really wanted and all these things. So these people are like sociopath, and they just wanted to please others by doing things that they okay, if someone really loves you, you don't need to change yourself. You have to not change your appearance also. And this guy did everything, and there is a fight between them, and she was gone missing. So as the time progresses, moves, they cannot detain him until they get the evidences. But how they detain him, you have to watch it by yourself also. Like your every activity on social media is monitored. If you are really kind to people, if you are very good, definitely you don't need to worry about your online activities. But if you are doing very bad, definitely there is someone who is watching, and that's Uncle Sam. Just saying it. Okay, let's move to the last one. It's also roommate wanted they have 2 episodes, and the story of all those people, those who are conned by this squatter. And I think it's a loophole in the system. Very old constitution and very young and high-tech crimes definitely sometimes doesn't meet, and the rules that they have set gives an edge to the person who is living. So that's why it happened with all those people, those who are they earning their hard money, and at the end of the day they are just oh, what I'm doing, paying all the bills, paying the rent, and I cannot pursue anything, and all the legal benefits or all the legal help will definitely be given to that one, and the system sympathizes with that person who is not paying. So that happened in this case also. This guy was he was very good at legal system, and he learned everything. So he knew where the loophole is, how he can get an edge. But there was one girl who was already very fit, and she learned self-defense also. That's why somewhere he was very hesitant from her. But the other girls, it was very hard for them. And some people, they really need to come up with the different tactics to know the behavior of the person and doing very odd to get rid of him. And there are many things that really need to be modified, because it's giving them a depression and all those things to all those people who invest all the money, and at the end of the day they become homeless by sheltering a person who is a squatter. So there are good things that you will learn about here, and how. And I think overall the thing that we really need to find out is here, that if you live in the in your own system, in your own circle that you draw, and in that circle your friends, sibling, and all those who are very trusted people, you should always remain closer to them. And that's why at least they can give you a hope, they can give you emotional strength also. And having a stranger, sometimes it is going to be a worst roommate ever, and that's where you really need to think. So it's good overall, it's good to watch, and there's some creepy things that you really have to witness here. Thank you so much for bearing me. Have a great watch. Take care of your loved ones and stay safe, and always trust your family first rather than others. Bye bye.